Okay, so hello, it's Tuesday. We've had some technical difficulties. I've changed things about a little bit back at the back bug cave, and yeah, it's I didn't get to test it because, but I think we're now all sorted. But it's Tuesday night, so we're back into the realms of Dungeons and Dragons. Has anybody been to see the film yet? Okay, if you have, give me a shout. Give me a shout. Now, we are not on a high end production like Dungeons and Dragons, the movie. Hopefully, I mean, we think as geeks that play it, we think that we're doing quite a good job. The downside is that we came through halfway through our adventures just to see whether there would be of any interest and to see what you guys thinking about the map and VTTs and all the rest of it. For myself, I've had a week off. I've recharged my batteries, and I'm raring to go. So this week we're going to be back onto a full streaming schedule, both on YouTube and also on Twitch. Okay, so keep an eye out and let's see what we can do. Interaction is always good, so feel free to shout out. I think I've got everything out sorted. The one thing that I forgot to adjust was my dragon, so I'll be dicking about with that through the course of. But there we go. Right. Well, without further ado, let's get on to Tuesday's group. Here we go, and we're there. There you go. So you've got everybody down at the bottom. Those of you that joined us on stream 2 weeks ago, you'll now notice that not only have we got the players down at the bottom with names on and what have you. Mugsy's got a problem with his video. Basically, he lives out in the sticks, and if he moves a stick, his internet goes down. So with it being slightly windy and rainy, that's it, he's buggered. But we've got him on voice, so that's good. On the top right hand corner, the players can't see this, but this is just for the streamers. You've got the character profiles and character names and also player names attached. So I thought that would be a good thing to put back. But anyway, I'm going to shut up because, quite honestly, it's not my night. This is John and the guys. So, John, take it away.
Made their way back to Jaegers, and you had been put up in a small apartment, which was part of the fortified manor house, which the chief, Warlord Rostam, but he's formerly known as Governor Rostam, where he lives and where the guard are and where the administrative centre of Jaegers is. And so you had just been out to do some shopping. You were heading back to your apartment when we left you last. Is there anything you want to do? You'd finished your shopping as far as I was aware. But is there anything you want to purchase before you head back?
I thought we just divvied up the cash. I don't know if anyone had bought anything.
We bought the books, didn't we?
We sold some stuff.
Yes, you did.
I had put a question into the GM of a specific item I needed to buy, which I was told
yes, and I think I responded to you.
You did indeed.
I hope I did.
No problem.
Yep.
No.
That's not a problem then. Anybody else want to do any shopping? It's one of those administrative things that we have to do every now and again.
Yes. I shall wander out to a jewelry shop and find the item that I specifically jewelry shopping. Yay! Gotta love it. Happy.
So there's a chance that uncommon items won't be available.
Yes, I think you said it was like a 90% chance they'd be available, 10% chance they're unavailable. Is that?
Previously, there was a 90% chance.
Oh, okay.
So if you would like to roll a D100 for me, why not?
Roll a D100.
47.
Nice middling roll.
Very middling, isn't it? Which is perfectly fine. Yes, you are able to find a lantern of revealing should you desire to purchase one.
And price?
So the price, that's the bit I've had before. You know when you've got lots of notes
Mm-hmm.
and you can't find the note that you're actually looking for? That.
Mm.
Yeah. Should have had that to hand. Hadn't thought, really. Just bear with me, callers. Anybody else want to buy anything? The problem with a lantern of revealing, of course, is that you are going to have to carry it.
Well, someone will have to carry it, yes. I'm hoping that one of our clothy stay at the back types might oblige.
The biggest question I have is the lantern of revealing. To what extent does it reveal? I mean, am I going to have to put full lead armor on?
Look, if that was the case, I definitely wouldn't buy it to preserve my life.
What do you mean? And Reinhold just swings his hips in a helicopter fashion. Huh? Huh? In the middle of the shop.
Well, it says it reveals invisible things, not minuscule things. So I think
Harsh but hilarious.
Good point. Good point. Touche. Thank you. Oh, so we'll always be able to see where Muggsy is then?
No,
He's invisible most of the time.
Well, sneaking is not invisibility.
Oh, okay.
So I just got really, really annoyed with those demons. Last adventure. And as we are climbing levels, we're probably going to end up with more and more of such things.
Okay, I know it's in this very, 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 very long chat somewhere. Okay, this is not going well. Okay, all right. You're just going to have to bear with me for a second. What's going on here? Why isn't it? Everything's going on a go slow now because I started Discord. That's the problem. All right. Incidentally, the updated version of D&D, which is definitely not D&D 5.5e and definitely isn't called 1D&D and definitely isn't called D&D 6th edition or anything like that, because it's just 5th edition, right? We'll actually have individual pricing for every single magic item.
Will it?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
I mean, it's just...
Okay. So do me a favor and roll a d20 for me. Okay, so it's going to be 250 gold pieces. You can haggle and get it for 250 gold pieces.
Yeah, let's haggle. Let's haggle. Go on. Haggle it, baby. Haggle it.
I have bought that.
Okay. All right. Anybody else wanting to buy anything of any description?
I think it's something to do with to help my armor class, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm not exactly sure
Care to
what.
tell me what?
I don't know. I'm best looking at straight armor. I can't do a lot other than I can go to studied leather, but that's gonna not give me any benefit now, but it will give me benefits later on.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's anything magical that could, like a ring or an amulet or something that might be useful. No, I'm looking. I don't know what I'm looking for here. Oh, cloak.
I'll tell you what we could do if you want to.
Don't forget, you can only have 3 attuned items, but you can have 3 cloaks.
Yeah, I've only got 1 item attuned, so I've got plenty of space at the moment.
Tell you what you could do. You could take some time, have a look through the magic item lists,
Yeah.
and then we can just backport it into the character later.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to
So
switch
common or
from.
uncommon items.
Yeah. I would like to switch to study leather armor if there's a set of that I can get.
Okay. Well, so have a look through.
Okay.
And then let me know, and then we can add that in. It's not a problem.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
And John, I'll just replace any ball bearings and caltrops I lost.
Sure. Those are regular prices because they're in the equipment list. So.
Yep. Is there anything I could use to jam a door? A wedge. A couple of metal wedges. I mean, I've got some, like we used those climbing crampons last time to jam a door nicely shut, but that was not going to be nearly as comprehensive as.
There isn't the part of the problem with this. I mean, you could get some wedges custom made.
Yeah,
but there's always going to be. It's never going to be as effective as really kind of nailing something shut or having a big bar across it or something of that nature. What you need is small, portable, easy to use things, and banging some pitons into the side of the door is usually fairly effective as long as the door gap is about the right sort of size. The problem you run into is when you've got something that's got a big gap because it's not very well manufactured, or a very small gap because it is extremely well manufactured. It's those kind of in betweens. Usually you can fit something in and knock it into place, but not always.
Gotcha.
I have a quick question with reference to loot and purchasing of said loot. Adamantine armor. Now we know it's magical, okay, because of the fringe benefits that it gets from it. But I can't see anything for like a +1 or a +2 or something like that to help with the AC increase, like you would do a full scale or full plate or plate, half plate +1, things like that. So, would there be any potential in this world for somebody to be able to imbue extra magics on top of what the adamantine itself gives? Because I'm assuming that the benefit, the fringe benefits comes that the armor has that I wear is more from, say, from the material, okay, not from anything being infused into it.
That's right. Adamantine armor needs to be worked in a very particular way. It's a specialist process, and therefore the bonuses it gives are like having a effectively like it being a +1 armor. Okay, because it's a special thing when it's worked. What you're asking about is enchantment of armor. Typically, you don't take a regular piece of armor and enchant it. you would need to find an enchant. You would need to find somebody who makes enchanted armor, because usually the enchantments require you to manufacture the armor in a very particular way. Now, you can reliably find +1 from various sources. It's very difficult to find +2, +3, +4 armor. And you can't really take a piece of armor to someone and say, "Here, mate, give this a quick enchant, will you?"
Yeah.
So,
because
adamantine is a specialist item.
yeah,
It's,
you see
it's
the
not
problem.
easy to lay your hands on.
The problem that I've got is on the D&D Beyond character sheet. When you go to equipment, box standard common breastplate is an AC of 14. The adamantine breastplate is an AC of 14. So I don't actually get any magical to AC, but I do get the magical of Muggsy can't crit me. You know, so yeah, so it's one trade off. No, that's why I was asking if there's any way that we could do
armor
that.
You wear any armor and so forth is always going to be a trade-off.
Yeah,
Everything is a trade-off.
So I would like to know if because we're in Jaegers, so I would either like to have a shield +2, cloak of protection +2, or there's some gloves or boots that increase your dexterity. Is there not?
There are no +2s available.
No,
from
I
anyone.
didn't think there were because from
No,
last time when we went
Those
shopping,
are
yeah, because
find them in the
they're
guide venturing.
they're
+1s
rare.
you can buy in Jaegers because it's Jaegers. You can't really buy them anywhere else.
Let's have a look and see what boots we've got. Yeah. No, there's no boots on here that will actually do things like increase your dexterity. You know, like there's gauntlets of ogre strength or hill giant strength. I can't see anything that actually increases dex. No, because otherwise all the rogues would be stealing them, wouldn't they? Right. Okay. So that's all my questions answered. Yeah, that's all my questions answered. I'm happy with stuffs.
Because a +1 because like +2 to dex, which will give you a +1 to your dexterity bonus, would be way more valuable than something that boosted your AC a little bit. Because it wouldn't just boost your AC, it would also boost your saves and a bunch of other skills and other things as well.
Yeah.
So things like that tend to be really, that's really potent. Something that shoves up your a base stat is a real potent thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking if I could get my AC up to 20, I'd be standing pretty close to Garvis when I use Shield of Faith on myself for AC. So, but one behind him isn't too bad. Considering the fact that I'm not actually designed for being there taking the blows, so I'm happy with that.
You have to understand that Garvis has exceptionally high AC, right? But that's because he's a character that's geared really primarily to defense.
Yes.
In other words, to being able to stand as the tip of the spear in front of everyone else, and he has been from quite early on. So he's been dedicated to that idea.
Yeah. It's something you have to remember with D&D. This D&D is, as opposed to previous versions, armor class does not increase very much as you go up in levels.
No,
it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
No, it don't. It's very difficult to do so. But I mean, I'm happy with what I've got. The only thing that I would ask then is, whilst other people are shopping, if nobody needs me for my persuasion, Okay, to try and get better prices, etc. I'm going to go and find out. I'm going to go and find, and we don't need to RP it. I'm just going to go and find what's the name's contact, so I can send cash over to the orphans, like I normally do, because I've got a sizable amount. So, so yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But I can't remember how we did it last time. The network. I'm going to hand some cash over to the network to get it to the right place.
So here's what you do. You go to the corner of the square, and adjacent to the mixed denomination area, there is a tiny little office of, well, a shrine to Walkeen. Strangely, although the Walkeenian clerics actually do live in the common area around the back, Walkeen has her own little shrine all on its own that's separate from the main shrine that reveres all of the other gods, all the other major gods, which is in a separate space. And you learned last time you were there that the reason for that is because the clerics of Walkeen spend a long time working on trade disputes.
Yes.
And don't really want to hassle other pilgrims when they've got a couple of arguing traders in the room, sort of yelling at each other. And so you go in there and you ask them to pass the money through. And of course, because they are members of your church and of the network, they agree that they will do that.
Perfect.
So just tick that off the character sheet.
Yeah, okay. So I'll pass over. Pass over a sizable amount of gold in gems and other forms. So that's done. I've done all my shopping. Thank you very much.
Could I get a couple of piles of diamond dust? Is there somewhere that would sell that locally?
Yeah. Do you know the price?
200 gold pieces worth.
That's fine. That's okay then. Yep, not a problem. If it's on the equipment list, you buy it at face value.
Yep, I'll do that then. I'll get some more. Get a couple of more charges of that.
Okay, not a problem. Okay, good. Is that everyone? For now?
I think so.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All right. So, you complete your purchases and you're packing up. You've packed up your various bits of gear and you head back across the square and down the road and back towards the manor. Rostam's manor, I suppose you could call it. And as you come up to the front gate, the guards see you. And one of them says, "Could you just hold there, please?" You thought they'd nod you through. That's what they've been doing before. And one of them trots off. About a minute later, he comes back with Marta. And she sees you as a group. You're having a stroke there, Reinhorn.
Yes. Yes, that picture came up and I went straight for the stroke.
Right, okay.
No, sorry. It's I took a drink, and sometimes when you take a drink, the avatar goes.
It goes a bit wonky.
Goes,
The avatar goes a bit strange. And yeah, so she comes over and she looks really, really cheesed off. When you see, there's a look on her face that tells you that she is really, really hacked off about something. And she
I wonder
just
why.
motions this way. and she takes you round to the front of the building and in, and you realise that you're going into the into the room where Rostam met you before, and stand there. Wait, don't move. And she looks at you, Muggsy, particularly, especially you. Anyway, she wanders off down the corridor and around the corner, so she doesn't knock on the door. And then a couple of minutes later, she comes back. Right, they're ready now.
What's this all about?
Door is open, and you're led in to the room. So the room is much like it was before. There's a main table down the middle of the room, and at the back of the room, there's a small table which previously had drinks and other things on it. You'll notice that there's a samovar sitting there, which has got steam coming out of it, and there's a few small cups. But the atmosphere feels a lot less positive than it did before. Just before you in the room, there is a line of chairs. There's actually 6 of them. And then in front of that is a single chair sitting at the end of the table. Then the table runs up, and there are 2 chairs each side, and then a single chair at the other end, which has been flipped round. And Rostam, in full plate armor,
You guys.
is sitting. It's kind of leaning on the back of the chair as it creaks under his bulk. He looks even more massive in this armor than he did when you saw him last. He sort of glances up when you come in, and then he returns to looking at some paperwork that's on the table in front of him. Illyra, those are almost certainly gauntlets of possibly hill giant strength, something like that he's wearing on his hands.
I step curiously towards the edge of the desk and see if I can read upside down what he's after.
He's right at the other end of the table.
Oh,
so
no, I'm not going to get up.
There is a wizard. There is a wizard sat kind of just to his left. You realise he's quite a thin-looking wizard, and he's got his cloak up. You can just about see the edge of his sort of slightly pale face. I think he's probably human or half elf. You're not exactly sure, but he seems quite slim. He's sat to Rostam's left. In front of you is a halfling, and she gestures to you, Muggsy. That's your seat. That's the one at the end of the table. The rest of you, please sit down. You're here to observe.
Jeez.
Thank you.
Anyway, she walks up to the end of the table. She's an older woman. She's got sort of well tanned skin, and she's got quite a lot of wrinkles. And she walks up to the end of the table and sits down to Rostam's right, and Marta Chancefall goes up and sits down alongside her. So they're both to the right of Rostam.
Okay.
And she's got a pile of paperwork in front of her as well, and she leaves through it, and you notice that she's got an ink pot and a quill, and she makes a couple of quick notes. And Rostam looks up, and he looks at you, Muggsy, and you can see that he is really unhappy. Marta is steaming. You can see she's almost vibrating with the amount of anger that's rolling off her, and he looks really hacked off.
Great. So
I warned you to be careful in this town. I have thousands of people and significant value in trade to think about and look after every day. People rely on me. I get that they don't rely on you, but they do rely on me. I don't know what you were thinking. Now, as you know, we have an independent judiciary in this place. They investigate and they prosecute. But that's not the right thing with someone like you. So listen carefully, Lightstep. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you in this town. I don't want to see you in the lands that I manage and occupy. Do you understand me?
I understand you, but may I ask what you're accused of?
You know exactly what you did last night.
We
You
weren't in town
imitated a
last-
member of the guard. That is
Oh.
completely beyond the pale. Do you understand?
I see. I see.
Specifically, someone who thought you were her friend.
I see.
You think it would go unnoticed? You think I wouldn't spot these things? You think I don't know what happens in this town? Think I'm oblivious? You will be shown to a waiting area. Your equipment will be brought to you. And then, in a short while, there will be a carriage that will take you to the edge of our lands, whichever direction you want to go, and it will drop you off, and I will never see you again. Do we understand one another?
We understand one another.
And I've got to say this. This is about you, Lightstep, not about anyone else. The other folks here, they comport with you. That's their problem, not mine. But you, stay away. Got it?
Got it.
Out.
Okay. So I stand up and head out.
I stand up and I head out.
Okay. I mean, yeah, the rest of you sort of follow Muggsy out the door, and he's like, okay.
Yeah, that didn't go very well.
Anybody want to say anything?
Before I leave the room, I will turn to them, and I'll sigh and just say, I do not know what he did, and I know it does not put right what he did, but I apologize that we were not on top of preventing him from causing this affront to you. But I know it means...
Madam, I understand. I do. This is not aimed at you. Please understand that.
I know that, and I apologize. For what it's worth, I apologize for what he has done, but we will make sure he does not come back.
Good.
And I'll leave.
Okay.
The room and bow as I go.
Yeah.
Regardless, will say to Muggsy as we walk out. I hope the beer was worth it.
I guess so.
Oh, it so
Talk about
was.
spoil sports. Talk about spoil sports.
I kind of expect it from Muggsy, but Reinhorn,
Oh, they're disappointed.
a bit better of you.
Wow.
So sad.
Story of my life.
I slept through the whole thing.
And we thought, you know, in all honesty, that we were doing everyone a favour by letting them all sleep in. And
So where we were having watches and you left us completely undefended as you wandered off to get your kicks in and then came back and made yourself paralytic drunk while we were sleeping in our beds, you think that was reasonable, do you?
oh, you weren't without watch.
Leave us, you know, I mean, we could have been attacked at any time and we would have been completely undefended.
No, not true. Actually, Garvis, that's not on Muggsy.
I
know
hang
it,
my
no,
head.
it's
in-
not.
Maybe Garvis, you should have actually inquired as to exactly what happened. I stood watch. I guarded the three of you, whilst Muggsy went and got the provisions. We then stayed up, not left unwatched and all the rest of it. We had everything in hand.
Did you?
Yeah.
when you were paralytic drunk?
Yeah, it would have
Yeah,
been fine. We would have kind of thrown some bottles down the corridor and what have you, and woke you up. We're in a guard tower. Nobody's going to get to us.
Yeah, Muggsy hangs his head in shame. I'm duly chastised as we leave.
But I take this on my shoulders. It was my Well, it wasn't my responsibility to keep Muggsy in check, but I didn't stop him from go. So, you know. So that's Jaeger's gone. We'll just have to move on and go somewhere else.
I would just have to work on our disguises. All right.
And work on your disguises and try not to imitate someone who's 5 foot when you're 3'2", and you'll only get away with an additional 12 inches.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Well, all I can say is there's an old proverb that says that trust arrives on foot and leaves on a horse.
Ooh. Are we going on a Are we going on a horse? We are. We're going on a carriage, aren't we?
We went on a horse.
So you're shown into a small side room, and you wait there for about an hour, and then a detachment of guard one of them sticks their head through the door and says, "Right, come on," and you're led back out into the courtyard and up into a carriage which has not got blacked out windows, but it's basically got like grills on the side. It's not a prison vehicle or anything like that. I mean, literally could just open the door and get in and out. It's not like that, but it's basically for, you know, moving around in without necessarily seeing who's inside it. So you climb in, you sit down, and it goes off. And as it's leaving, the little hatch on the front opens, and one of the two drivers leans in and says, "Where are you going? They didn't tell us."
That's because we don't know.
Which direction?
Top secret, my man. Just drive around in circles, and then when we see the tree that's fallen over, we'll know where we're going.
Yeah, can you just take us to the west gate, please?
No, I think
There's only really, we can only really go south in this vehicle. We could go out the north end out the north gate if you really wanted to, but normally we go south because that's the best road.
Okay, so
But you can go north, south, east, and west from there. Just tell us. They told us you're probably going to travel for about half a day.
they're taking us to the borders.
we want to go. So, question, John.
Yes.
Out of character. So, when
Yes.
we were using the compass, we charged it up. I think it pointed sort of northwest, Sharanav sort of direction. Was that right?
It did. That's right. Yes, it did.
So
that's to find the next axiom, isn't it?
Yeah,
the
is
last
that where we decided to go? Is that a good destination, do you think?
I think that's where we are. Yeah, I think that's where we're headed next.
I've never been to Sharanav. I think that would be a good choice.
Yeah, so so if we're going to Sharanav, because obviously this map it doesn't really show any roads. Are we best going north to Bishbalak and then taking a boat, or are we best going west? I don't know what the terrain.
You would normally come south out of Jaegers, and then you've got a big east-west road.
Yep.
You would go west through that gap in the mountains.
Yep.
Through this gap just here, and then round and north up towards Sharanav.
Okay, so west then.
I do fancy looking at checking out that Bish Black because it sounds like a meaty, spicy dish that gets served with rice and black peas. You know.
Okay.
Here's
what you know about Bish Balak. Jaegers is actually under the control of the Sultanate of Bish Balak. Okay, and the leader of Bish Balak is Amina. She is the Sultana of Bish Balak. And you know that Many years ago, she and
Yeah.
Rostam used to adventure together, and they were quite high-profile adventurers. And then there was a pogrom against the elves. She's an elf. There was a pogrom against the elves in Bishbulak, and she returned to Bishbulak with Rostam and the rest of their adventuring party, and overthrew the Sultan, who'd, as far as anyone could tell, gone mad, turned to the dark side, become evil, who's no one's quite sure. And she slaughtered him. She killed him, and she took over as the leader of Bishbulak. And in return for Rostam's help with that, she granted him the governorate of Yagus. So he controls the area around Yagus. And they're both very close friends and former adventuring partners as well.
Okay. What was her name again?
Her name is Amina.
Amina Sultan. Amina Sultan.
Thank you.
She's actually the Sultana.
Amina Sultana. It gets stuck in your throat.
So basically
and what do we know about
female
Sharanav?
So, what do you know about Sharanav? That is a very good question. The person who knows probably the most about Sharanav is Delira, because she used to live fairly close. In fact, she used to live to the west, in a halfling village to the west of Sharanav, just a few miles inland from the coast.
Yeah.
Reinhorn doesn't. And you don't, I mean, other than the fact that there's a sultanate, and when I find the page, let me have a look. It's a sultan called Biltek. And other than that, it's a fairly open community. So much like, I mean, to be honest, much like Sultanabad and Bishbulak are, Kesar is the outlier, and it's mostly wealthy, partly because of the iron mines in the mountains that surround it, but also because they do a lot of trading with the elves. Because the Inabiros, the giant wood elf forest, is to the west of Sharanav.
We can't suggest that we should just go straight to Sharanav. What do you think?
If we, I've got an idea. If we can, if we take a break in the middle, in that gap between the mountains, I'd like to try something.
Okay.
Yep, I'm amenable to that.
I'm gonna have a few hours kip in the carriage.
Sounds like a great plan.
I stretch out. I might actually go on top of the carriage, get a suntan.
So I'll step outside when we get to that.
How big's the carriage? I mean, is it? You know, I mean, is there enough room to?
It's a four-wheeled carriage drawn by two horses, two good solid workhorses.
So enough for me to sit my ass down, stick my legs out without causing problems for anybody else.
If you try and open the door and try and get out, the drivers will immediately pull to a halt. They'll come around and they'll say, "We've been told that you've got to stay outside." They don't look like they want to fight you or anything like that. But they're perfectly polite about it, but they're like, no, we've been told you've got to stay inside. You can't be outside carriage.
Where's the edge of the land? Whereabouts are they taking it on the map as far as we know?
So what happens is you come south out of Vegas, and then you basically what they do is they head west.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to stop along this road, there is a road that runs along here. And you're right, I didn't put roads on this map. One of these days I must update this map and put some more things on it. But they basically take you to this spot here. It actually doesn't take them that long, because once they get out onto the open road, the carriage motors along quite well.
Yeah.
And they're able to pass quite a lot of caravans and other traffic that's on the road. This is a well-trafficked road. You've used it yourself reasonably recently.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that there is generally quite a lot of traffic on it during the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, when we get out of the carriage and we get to about this sort of area, I'll try this. Do a ritual casting of commune with nature.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can find any influence from other planes, any powerful creatures, and just what the terrain's like heading. It covers 3 miles around me. So if there's anything in the 3 mile area.
The really good news is that you don't sense any influence from other planes.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
And you are entirely confident that had there been, for example, a demonic presence around you in a good 3 mile radius, you would be aware. And the fact that you don't detect that, you consider to be a strong positive.
Mm-hmm.
Because it means, it suggests that the area that you're in is fairly safe. It's only sort of early afternoon, by the way.
Got plenty of time. Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to know?
Okay, so I've done that. Yeah. Are there any people? Did I sense any kind of buildings in
Yeah.
the area?
Buildings, no, you don't. But what you do detect are plenty of people. And you realise that you get a feel it's sort of a bit of a distance, or maybe a few miles up the road, but the undulation of the territory means you can't see it from where you are. You get this kind of distinct feeling of a group of people, all together, and you think you're thinking maybe there's some people who have come and they've set up on the road either to trade with passing caravans, or possibly to sell them some entertainment or food or something of that nature. You're not sure exactly, but that's sort of what your gut is telling you, that it's some kind of encampment. And it wouldn't make sense that it's caravans stopping by the side of the road at this time of the day, because if you're gonna caravan camp, you do that at the end of the day, and it's too early in the day to be stopping.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll mention that. I'll say there's an encampment a bit further up if we want to get some local knowledge. Perhaps they've heard some local information. I've not been this way for a while. While there is wealth up here, there's also a lot of mistreatment and fear and unpleasantness.
You're in this interesting sort of no man's land between the sphere of influence of Bishbalak, and particularly Jaegers, and the sphere of influence of Sharanath, which doesn't quite come all the way south here.
Yeah.
And therefore you're in this sort of no man's land where, people travel regularly, and it's generally fairly safe. you know, but there are dangers on the road, but there's also not a lot around. It's a very open plain.
Yeah.
So it tends to be hard to kind of, you know, leap on a well-guarded caravan and sort of attack them, because just where you are here is very flat, and so therefore vision tends to be quite good. So, you know, there's plenty of spots where you're actually in one where you can't see a couple of miles hence, but there are plenty of spaces where, I mean, you can go up a rise and you think probably in about half a mile you'll crest that rise, and then you'll get a view over probably 10, 15 miles. And that means that actually it's quite hard to sneak up on, unless literally people are sleeping in a hole. It's quite hard to sneak up on people. And
I've done that.
you know, if a group of bandits moved in near the road, they get found out pretty quickly, and then they get cleared out pretty quickly. So it tends to be a bit too dangerous, really, to do that.
Yeah. Did you want to head to the encampment, folks, or do you want to skirt around them and keep going?
I mean, how long does it take to cast that as a
ritual? It'd be 11 minutes.
11 minutes. Okay. So while you're waiting, the carriage turns and leaves you. And while you are waiting for Delilah to cast her ritual, and while she's deep in the process of performing her ritual, you know, there is traffic passing on the road. So there are a couple of caravans, one going towards Jaegis and one going the other way. The one going towards Jaegis is quite interesting, actually, because it's covered in it's lots of it's 6 wagons, and they've all got planks on them, wood.
Sounds like a bored wagon.
Yay! Okay, so what next, folks? What do you want to do? Are you just going to continue down the road? Are you going to head off?
There's an encampment we could go and stop at
Oh.
and see, right? But or we could carry straight on. Whichever works for you. It feels relatively safe. There's no. I did check for fiends and some other planes, and didn't identify anything in this area, in this region.
So,
Maybe a bit further up. I'll have to cast it again later, possibly.
I mean, just a quick question, John. The carriage coachman,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they said that they don't know where we're supposed to be going and what have you. Top secret. So would they take us all the way to Sharanav, or would they, or are they under orders to drop us off when we get out of Jaegis' influence?
Right. So what they were told was that you needed to stay inside the carriage while it was moving.
Yeah.
Particularly in the areas around Jaegis. So you were not. So it was basically they were to keep you in a situation where you weren't spotted. Okay.
Yeah.
And they were told to take you where you wanted to go, to the direction that you wanted to go, to the border. Okay.
Right, okay.
So, which is what they've done. They've taken you a fair way. I mean, you couldn't move as quickly as they have in terms of, you know, the carriage has moved along at a brisk pace, and they've taken you right the way to the western edge of, in fact, slightly beyond where they would consider to be their normal territory, but only by a few miles. And then they've basically said, "Is this okay?" and dropped you off. And then they've turned around and gone off again.
Right. In that case, yeah. Well, in that case, I can answer Delira's question. For me, Delira, yeah. I mean, if it's on its way to Sharanav, let's go. You know the place, and you know somebody there, then let's go and meet up and have a few beers. Too soon, Mugsy? Too soon?
Too soon. Too soon.
I don't know anybody there. I just sensed there was an encampment. on
Well,
our way.
you're going to be our travel guide, so to speak, because I mean I don't know if Garvis has been this far west or Alira. I don't know. I certainly don't know. I certainly haven't. But by the sounds of the we've not been over that way. So what's it like? Kind of murmurs and things like that whilst in the carriage. I don't think any of us, apart from you, have been anywhere near the Sharinav and the surrounding borders. So yeah, you're going to be up front going,
Last time I was here,
that's
it
a
was raining
pothole.
away.
That used to be a hut. Oh, that's where little Jimmy used to go and hide and pee round the corner, you know, and stuff like that. So you're going to be our tour guide. Well done.
Oh no.
No, I mean, I think it's fair to say that that Delira has travelled from the area around Sharinav down and across, but has not actually, spent any time in Sharinav. You've been on the, you've been to the edge of the city, but you've never been in the city because it's just never happened. And that was only sort of, towards the start of your career as a caravan guard, because you were trying to travel more widely to find, just to sort of see the world. And the issue of the issue of that, where you come from, the village that you come from, obviously it being a halfling village, and
I didn't want to go back. They didn't. I wasn't exactly welcome in some parts, so I was trying to stay away. They didn't like the fact I wasn't a halfling.
there were some of the halflings were,
Yeah, some of them were okay. Some of them were fine, but some
most
of them.
I mean, your family were lovely and loving and
yes.
caring, and they did a fantastic job of
Some
bringing
of
you
the
up.
wealthy landowners were not happy.
And some of the others, but there were a few difficult folks.
Yeah, spent a lot
I
of time
thought
in the
Hill was
wild.
there. Somebody just pinged. Who was that?
I was clearing the dice out of the way.
I
I kind of left it thinking, going, it'll disappear soon, and it never bloody did. And then I looked over to see what was happening on the stream, and it was there, and I went, get rid of it. And I must have clicked twice or something. Anyway. Yeah.
Right. So, you carry on. I mean, you're going to carry on down the road, and you get to, by the side of the road is an area where, caravans will stop and make camp. And what tends to happen is that caravans tend to, clump together at night, because it makes sense. If you've got more guards and more people, it's easier to hold off, more powerful foes if there's more of you. So this tends to be the way in which things are done. And yeah, I mean, there's just a bunch of tents set up, and there's some people, trying to vend some food. But when you arrive, there's no caravans waiting. There's a few wagons out, and the people have got their tents set up, and some people are doing some cooking, which is preparing for the evening. But they're not actually doing any, there's not any caravans kind of pulled up yet, but there's plenty of space for them.
It's a bit early, I guess.
Garvis, are you going to get the compass out and check?
Yeah, it's probably worth giving it a go. I'll pull it out because we've got it. I think it's in the bag of holding.
Okay.
So I'll pull it out and open it up.
Okay. You pull it out and have a look, and you were expecting by this time for it to be pointing more towards the north, more towards sort of Sharinav, because that was roughly the direction it seemed to be pointing in when you were in Yagas. But it's actually pointing more to the west. So from here, where you are here, which is sort of here, it's pointing more. I'm literally just going to freehand this. So, I'll tell you what. No, we'll do that. It's pointing more in that direction.
Can't see anything.
See anything. You're probably not drawing on the right layer.
I'm drawing on the objects and tokens layer.
No, Not seeing anything.
Not seeing anything.
No.
There it is.
There it is.
There you go.
Oh, it's showing up now, is it? Okay. It takes a few seconds to sync then.
Does that
All right.
is that taking us more into the Elven Forest?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's quite a lot of plain between Sharanav and the Inabiros, but it's certainly more in that direction.
Okay. Well, at some point we'll probably have to break off from the road then, and if there's no road that lead that way.
Are we heading to Sharon for stock as a base point? Is that the intention, do you think?
Well, let's go like maybe halfway up and then take another reading and see.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll
Right,
close
there's
it up,
a
get back
ritual I
to
can do,
the bag of holding.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, and over the next sort of day and a half, 2 days, you travel along the road. You basically walk. You think that's probably the easiest solution at this point. And you when you get to not far south of Sharanav, you again take another reading, as you put it, and you realize it is pointing in that direction, very much to the west. So let's just talk a little bit about geography. You've got a big, wide open plain here. Just to the south of Sharanav, not far from where you currently are, there is a road that goes to the west. So it runs from Sharanav westwards. And it runs across the plain. And there are a number of smaller roads that go off to the north that go to various villages and coastal locations. In fact, Delira, you could get to your home village from there, should you so desire. But the main use for that road is to get to Solvane. Now, Solvane is commonly called the gateway to the Inabiros, but it isn't really a gateway at all. And the reason it's not a gateway is because the elves don't let you in the Inabiros. You're not going in there as far as they're concerned. And it's pretty terrifying anyway. I mean, these trees are sort of, some of these trees are half a mile tall. They're massive things. And it's unlike any sort of woodland or other forest that you've ever been in. It's a truly wild place. But Solvane is there so that the elves have a location in which they can trade with outsiders. And Solvane's job is to act as the interface. So if you are if you are a trader or a merchant and you want to sell stuff to the elves and buy stuff from the elves, then what you do is you go to Solvane, you meet with the elves there, you trade with them, and then you take the products and you come back. And that way the elves keep traders out of their forest and away from their the places in which they live, and everyone else can trade freely with them and buy their equipment and their wood and various other useful bits and pieces from them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
While we've stopped, I'll do another commune with nature as well, just to see if there's any bits and pieces before.
Okay.
Influence some other planes, any demon, fiends, and I guess buildings are going to.
What are you looking for this time? Are you looking for fiends? Celestials, fae, fiends, elementals, or undead? Any of those? Are you looking for fiends, or are you looking for an influence from other planes of existence? Buildings. Which of those are you looking for?
Yeah, fiends and any influence from the planes, really.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Again, the good news is nothing here.
Good.
And that makes you that makes you feel better. It's reassuring. You're not sure whether that means that there has been influence in this area, and you're sure that some point there will be, but where you are right now, you think it's pretty safe.
That's handy to know. Yep, that's it. I'll mention nothing. Nothing. No demonic or fiendish influence in this
Mhm.
little area. I'll just check the cube as well. Is there any cube activity?
There is not. No.
Good. Okay. So we've not got anything ancient by the look of it yet.
Okay. I got rid of the other arrow because I thought. Well, I suppose it helps triangulate a bit, but whatever. Doesn't really matter. Yeah. Okay, so north to Sharanav or west to Solvane or somewhere else?
Well, I mean, just putting it out there whilst we're having a bit of a chit chat on the way up to, I would really prefer it if we had a map of the area to the west of Sharanav. So maybe there's a cartographer, Sharanav, that might have something that we can use, possibly.
Did we have anything in the books we've bought to do with the map?
Let's be complete. Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
There are some notes. You did buy this book,
I've
didn't
not,
you?
I've not had a chance to read through them properly yet.
No, but you did buy the book. Let me just find the information. So yes, you bought Althor a book by Althor Greece, which is the Geography of Zarkamar, and in fact has a section with a map that shows Sharanav, and in fact shows the edge of the Inabiros, and literally just the edge and nothing else, because that's all you get. And also shows Solvane on that map, and a smattering of villages on the coast as well.
Does this help, Reinhold? Is this what you're after?
No, I want it drawn nicer, with sea turtles emerging from the oceans and I don't know, dragons flying overhead. No,
No, you don't want to see dragons flying overhead.
It'll do.
No, that's what you don't want to see. You don't want to see that. You don't want to know.
This is the last page in this book for some reason.
It's Scottish
No.
on the back.
That one will suffice. So at least now I can kind of like get a broader imagination of what's over in the direction that the compass is pointing. Plus, it'll also gauge us whether or not we want to carry up on feet or get some mounts of some sort. I don't mind leaving camels in the desert again. I have no issues with that.
So what's interesting for you is that it is the area to the south of the Inabiros. So the Inabiros comes down to about this point here, and then circles around, and it basically meets up with the edge of a bunch of mountains. But it's the area beyond that is not well covered. It's literally just empty. And on this map, in actual fact, there are no details of this plain off to this side here, between here and the forest.
Interesting.
Okay. Whilst we're travelling for the last, you said couple of days, wasn't it? Since we disembarked from the carriage. I want to gauge what Bugsy's mood's like. Mugsy's, sorry, not Bugsy. Mugsy's mood. Is he chipper and cheerful, or is he just feeling a little bit?
Bugsy was a geezer kneeling on some boots, so that's not really.
Yeah,
that's not really cricket. I don't know.
Yeah.
What, Muggsy, tell us what you've been like the last couple of days.
I think bored. He gets really, really bored. He felt, a little bit grumpy to begin with, chastised,
She does.
and then was like, and then rapidly, gets really bored looking out of the window. and then starts like fidgeting, and then starts, humming to himself, and then like just twisting and turning, and then starts asking, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" And until everyone is completely annoyed. So that's what's been going on for Muggsy.
Okay,
It's
so
good to hear that he got over it.
so what I would like to do is what I'd like to do, right, is whilst
Jarvis, on the other hand, is still like,
Oh yeah.
so what I would like to do is, especially for mainly for Muggsy, is whilst we're on our Shanks's pony, okay, whilst we're walking and taking readings and what have you, is just to burn a 4th level spell and turn Muggsy into an eagle or something.
Oh, nice.
And I'll do that on day 1, and I'll also do it on day 2, and just to raise his spirits, so to speak.
okay. All
You
right.
see what I did there? Did you?
Yeah, raise. I get it.
Huh?
All right. Well, I probably won't get anything more than we've already gotten as far as scouting, but if there's anything you want to add, John, feel free. Otherwise, I will take absolutely full advantage of that, and will of course be asking for that from now on.
So the really fantastic thing about this, Muggsy, is that it, coupled with your vision and your sense of smell, it is just fantastic to get up and just lazily pick up the updrafts and spin around.
Nice.
And what you do, actually, everyone, particularly Garvis, but everyone else breathes a sigh of relief once you're in the air.
Oh yeah.
You were driving them all nuts, so they're
Absolutely.
quite happy
Now-
that you're being engaged in there.
Yeah.
Especially that humming that you were doing for like hour after hour after hour was really starting to grate on certain people's nerves.
So here's the thing,
Yeah.
right? So an eagle, how good is its hearing? Right. So whilst Muggsy's in the throes of the loops and things like that, and he's squawking with yips of glee, I just shout up and go, "What would happen if I stopped concentrating right now?" And I start laughing.
I think we've seen that when you did teleport to friend and I was in the air, didn't you? Just fell to the sky.
Yep.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the cool thing is, Muggsy, what it does is it gives you a really good view around and about. And so one of the things that you do is you get up fairly high and you have these big lazy circles above these guys. And the good news, I mean, as Dolores already said, that there's nothing that she can detect that's kind of otherworldly and troubling. And the good news is you don't see anything of any particular concern either. Nothing lurking around a bunch of rocks or anything like that. But again, it is very flat and very open.
Yeah.
And it's only really the occasional spot where the caravans, and what you do is you guys, when you make camp, you camp with a whole bunch of other folks who are making camp at the same time. And it's only really and you keep your own watches, but they do too. And it's only really that breaks up the sort of the unevenness of the place.
So, John, yeah, so John, just so you know, Garvis is very grumpy because he's not getting a lot of sleep, because he's not letting Reinhorn or Muggsy take watches on their own. He doesn't trust them anymore.
It's fair.
Very good.
It's fair.
So absolutely.
Sorry, Muggsy, I lost you there for a
Yeah.
second.
No.
Anthony?
I was looking around on my character sheet to see if I had a gaming board of some sort. I don't see one, so I will not attempt to engage Garvis in a game while he's sitting up with me, because I couldn't find it.
No, I mean, if you try and talk to him while he's on watch, it'd be interesting to see how he responds to that.
He appears probably just as grumpy as always. Ah, man, if not more so.
I think he's probably just gonna sort of huff a bit
More
and,
so.
and keep watch rather than we're not
Yeah.
here to play games. We're here to pay attention to what's going on around us. And Garvis, you're supremely aware of the other folks who are around, and they pretty much everywhere you stop, it seems to there seem to be a good collection of other guards, and at various points you sort of wander over, and as a result, collectively in each of the places that you're stopping, you tend to find that there's enough people around that are really good watches being kept. It's helping that the nights are clear, they're cool but not cold.
Mhm.
The moons are up, so you're bathed in plenty of light, and in general, it's quite a positive atmosphere that you find yourself in. People are cautious with one another, but they're not. They're not. They're recognizing kindred spirits in terms of people traveling.
So Garvas is going to, cautiously engage in conversation with them, find out, things to know about the road to Sharon Ave and the road west from there.
Yeah, I mean, on your second night, you stop with a caravan that's actually come from Solvane, and they tell you a little bit about the place. One of them is one of the guards who's talking to you. He's never been there before. It's his first time going. He just says, "It's a really strange place. Those elves, they're not like our elves. Our elves are lovely, but strange. They're really, really odd. They don't talk to you. They don't engage with you. They sort of stride about almost like you're not there. You've got the one who's in charge. He seems to wander about with his a retinue of soldiers who are all like dressed identically, and they all look identical. It's all a bit strange. No, I think they must be a bit off in their heads. Odd people, and they get really, really tetchy. We had a story that someone had tried to sneak into the night, and apparently they got caught by the elves, and the elves had given them a right pasting. I don't know if that's true, but that's one of the stories that we heard while we were there. I wouldn't want to take them on. Bad bunch, weird, strange people, really strange.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard it's they're very closed off.
Insular.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to live like that, One of the nice things about traveling around is you meet different people, you get to talk to folks, you have a nice time. I don't get it. I don't get why you'd be like that. I mean, you think of our cities, you think of wherever you go, well, people in K's are a bit weird, but everyone else is really, really friendly, and you get lots of real positivity, but just odd. They're just odd folks. Their own little world, their own little green world. All that green really weirds me out as well. Don't like that. It's odd. Can't see very far through trees. They're massive, the trees as well.
I like an open vista myself.
Yeah, yeah.
See
I mean,
what-
I know you always like things above your head, right? I know you like that, but can't see anything. Strange. And it's also odd, right? Because you ain't been there, right?
Not yet. No,
Okay,
no.
so obviously we can't get too close to the forest, but it's like just starts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I've been other places, and there's little bits of forest and woodland and things, and you get a little bit of green, and you get a few bushes, and you get a few trees, and you get some bigger trees, right? That's how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there, it's just like nothing. Trees, like a wall of trees. I don't know whether they fiddle with them or something. Maybe they do. Maybe they got elfy magic,
Wow. Probably druids.
You,
Yeah.
you rang?
What, like yours? Is that a druid?
Yeah, he's a
She's
tree
really
fiddler.
good,
What gives
Strange.
her?
Anyway,
She's cold.
we got wood. That's the good news.
It.
Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah, everyone seems. I mean, the great thing is that everyone seems really cosmopolitan and positive, and there doesn't seem to be any airs and graces or anything like that amongst the people. But then, you know, particularly for you, Delira, who's done this to some extent, Garvis as well. You did too. You know the. Oh, that was weird.
There
I
she
just
is.
lost Garvis and Delira for a second, and now they're back.
Yep.
Can you hear me, okay, Pete?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no,
I saw Lyra disappear and come back.
Yeah.
But well, from my point of view, no interruption. So.
Okay, it's fine. So yeah, so you you do have experience, obviously, with working on caravans, but the this is the this is how people are. People are mostly that you're used to people being very open. You know, you go somewhere like Jaegers, people are open, they're friendly, and that's generally what you find pretty much anywhere. Apart from some of the hostility that you had in the Dwarven Kingdom, which was exceptional, because Garvis, you know that wasn't usual at all, but that was because of the fear over the situation with the king. Everywhere you've been pretty much is friendly. Even Khazar, where there's that whole weird caste system that they've got, that you have to be of a particular type to go into the city and all the rest of it. But even there, the folks in the bazaar outside and surrounding are all really open and friendly, and there's not a lot of hostility. It's just they have this law, and that's what they enforce. So it sounds a bit odd. Okay, so you're traveling north or you're traveling west?
But that's a good question, isn't it? So out of character for players, if we know the compass is pointing west, so that's going to be our end objective, no matter whether we go to Sharanav and do a bit of shopping or scouting around or something like that, right? But do we know, because I can't remember, do we know if we've got any way of safe passage past the woods, the first line of trees?
Well, we don't know if the compass is leading us into the trees or if it's
Skirting round.
So that's what we need to find out.
Or if it's at Solvain, somewhere in the
Why? I mean, when we were down here, it was sort of there was definitely more of an angle to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it's necessarily that much. I mean, it might be in Solvain.
Or it could be just
It's
outside,
pointing
maybe.
roughly towards Solvain, yeah.
Yeah. So,
pretty much directly along the road to Solvain, which is roughly straight. Yeah.
I mean, I must admit, I would probably like to avoid going into Sharanav simply because there's a good, if we're going to pick up spies anywhere, if we're going to pick up this cult that's after us,
That's true. Yeah.
Sharanav is probably where where they'd have people watching. So if we avoid major population centres, we know they have people in Jaegers and Pagul. So I'd say let's stay out of Sharanav and cut off beforehand.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would as well. Okay,
very good.
When we've got before we there's a break in the movement. Can I also have a look through on the races book and just to see if there's what it says about the wood elves before we potentially encounter any.
That's a very good idea.
Yep.
In fact. Okay.
Being raised by halflings, I don't know a great deal about them.
The thing about this book is it's more of an overview of each of the races. It isn't some detailed treatise that goes into every last detail. It really just talks more about looks, demeanor, things like ranges of skin color, and physical features and things of that nature, and also a little bit about culture and background. But it does, in fact, have a piece about the Wood Elves. And let me see if I can find it here.
By the way, did you see that Wizards is planning on eliminating the half races?
Sort of. They're not going to call them half elves and half orcs anymore. So the idea is that you can have mixed parentage. The idea will be that from any, you will be able to choose any two of the. They're not calling them races anymore. They call them species.
Species or
Species,
something.
I think, is the term they're going to use. But that might change. I don't know. But yeah, the idea is they're going to take. So you can take any two species, and you can mix them together, and you will be able to pick aspects of each one and combine them. So you won't just have half elves and half orcs, which is pretty much all you've got at the moment. You'll be able to have mixed parentage characters, and you'll be able to mix them however you want. I personally look forward to the mixed halfling dwarf that Anthony is going to play in the next game.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. So not stealthy and so not hardy. Yeah.
And all that hair.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
From head to toe. Yeah. So apparently this is apparently it was slightly misunderstood. So when he said it, there was a bit of, ooh, is he saying that the people who are mixed race are problematic? Because what he said was half races are problematic.
I think
And
he meant the terminology was probably.
Ooh, misspoke, and he didn't mean that at all. That was Jeremy Crawford, I think, wasn't it? And he clarified afterwards. He's like, no, what I mean is we realised that actually calling someone a half elf or a half orc is a bit icky, and actually what we want to do is we want to provide, a wealth of different things and give people opportunities to play whatever, whoever they are, whatever they are. So I don't know. I am looking for the notes, and I can't find them because, of course, I can't, because they're not in here. They're in a different section. Yeah. So I mean, the thing is that the Wood Elves are very singular in terms of protecting their heritage. They do not condone in any way Wood Elves mixing or associating with other races. As far as they're concerned, all Wood Elves have to remain pure Wood Elves. Not even other elves. As far as they're concerned, no, it's Wood Elves only. They live in the cities that are strung in the higher parts of this forest, and as they live a lot of them live at height. The forest floor is thought to be quite dangerous, full of potentially large and quite dangerous creatures. But they grow up in the canopy. The canopies are quite safe. Very few Wood Elves travel beyond the borders of the Inabiros, and the ones that do are usually sent out for a year or two to go and do something specific. So they are given a mission. They're trained and given a mission by the leadership, and they're sent out. And then when they come back, they are aggressively debriefed to make sure that they haven't picked up any of the bad habits of outsiders. That's why you rarely see them, and when you do, they really stand out because they just don't mix, and they spend a lot of time on art and culture and what they consider to be beautiful things, and the invention of of complex technologies made from wood, but they simply don't understand a lot of the things that come from outside. They don't take in outside ideas. They're very insular. They're very fixed in their ways.
I think we said before that they'd view me as a half human or a half dwarf or a half halfling or whatever it is, wasn't it? It's not half wood.
So
They don't
you're,
think it's half wood.
so you're half wood elf, half human,
Mm.
and
They class me
that
as a half
to
human. don't they?
most wood elves is that doesn't. You're not a wood elf as a result. As
No.
far as wood elf culture is concerned, you don't count.
I'm
But also, how did that happen?
well, yes.
What occurred? I mean, that's just like, and
Very rare,
that's something
isn't
that doesn't happen. So we do, there is the odd wood elf that will sometimes reject that culture and will fall in love with the cultures beyond and races beyond. But that's certainly not the case with the majority of them. It's also unclear how many of them there are.
Mm.
There must be maybe 10,000 or more of them, but it isn't entirely clear. There could be only 4 or 5,000 of them. There could be 100,000 of them. The problem is you can't get a read because this forest is huge and impenetrable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's not the most helpful thing, but at least it gives you a background.
Yeah. Bit of.
Okay.
I've checked it to make sure there's nothing crucial
right.
in there.
After another day and a half, you arrive. You can see in the distance as you are walking down the road. You can see this huge kind of dark green mass on the horizon growing slowly as you get closer to it. And some way in front of it, you can see this small village, which actually in itself is quite green. It's all the buildings are made out of wood, which is quite rare. You don't see that very often anywhere. So it looks like the whole thing is made out of wood as you're walking up. And the style of architecture is simple. You can tell as well on the far side of the village from where you are, there is a large building that you think has strong elven influence because of the way that it's carved and the curlicues and various other things. But it still looks fairly practical. You're not quite sure what that is. As you're walking up, there's a plenty of houses, and then as you kind of roll into the village on the left hand side, you can see that there's a large building which you think is an inn, and surrounding it are these lots and lots of dotted around little cabins, and there's a space in front of it, big space in front of it for wagons to draw up. And if we were to take a quick break there, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, perfect.
Good.
That all right, Muggsy? Sorry, that all right, Reinhorn, as well?
Yeah, absolutely fine for me. Absolutely fine for me.
Okay.
No
then,
worries.
folks.
Bye.
Very good. So you roll into Solvane. One of the things you notice is that there's quite a lot of greenery here. So despite the rather brown and dry nature of the plain around you, this area is green. It's full of bushes, small trees, nothing tall or significant, but there's bushes and trees, ringing the village, and everywhere you go as you walk along the street, there's little patches of green with plants growing out of them. And it's really quite a pleasant mental change from most of the other places that you've been, because it just feels that bit different. Okay. Are you thinking perhaps looking for somewhere to stay overnight?
Definitely don't want to stay outside. We can help it.
Yeah.
I think you
think it
said
probably
something
you
about
probably wouldn't go down very well if you tried to, camp out in the street anyway.
So are there a couple of inns or just one?
It's just one.
Okay. I'm
There's
sure everybody's making for there.
There's a sign on the outside, which is a white dragon. There's no writing, but there's a sign of a white dragon. So you think it's probably called the White Dragon Inn.
Okay. Is everybody like heading that direction? From anyone? I mean, does it look like we need to rush to get there to get rooms?
No, I mean there are some caravans on the far side of town. You can see some things being loaded up on the far side of town, or on the far side of the village, probably about a quarter mile away. So that big building that you could see in the distance, you can see that's there's things outside, carts outside that are being loaded up, and some that are being unloaded. You can see some very strange looking carts as well, that you think are probably elven. The design is radically different to what you're used to. It's pretty much a pattern of cart that you're used to, and these are quite different. They have these weird articulated wheels. They're lower and longer, and they're also everything is finished to a very high degree of quality. It's not to say that the other carts and stuff are not well made. They are, but they're practical, agricultural in nature, if you like. But these things are things of beauty. Almost excessively so. It's like, well, why? But it's as if every object must be imbued with this sense of proportion and beauty.
Do I see
Okay,
any
going left
druidic
to the inn,
symbols
or straight on, or
in town while we're on the move? Can I see any druidic messages or symbols anywhere?
there is a couple of sort of shop fronts on your right hand side. There's like for want of a better way of putting it, a boardwalk, a long, low wooden platform along on the right hand side, on which there's a couple of buildings. All the buildings are low, by the way. There's nothing multi-story. Everything's single story. Even the inn, which has a fairly tall roof, is still only one level. You think everything is low, and these buildings have got kind of open fronts. There's like a sort of counter at the front, and then there's like canvas covers kind of just over the top of them. So obviously if it were raining, it wouldn't rain inside the building. And you think those are probably, a couple of them are stores. One of them looks like it might be general goods, and the other one looks like it might be food.
Okay.
In?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. You turn and you walk up to the inn, and you go in through the front door, double doors, narrowish double doors, but double doors nonetheless at the front, and into a large and open common room. Whose dog was that?
Good dog.
And it's a dog, and it greets you with a cheery woof.
Woof.
Our dog has gone to its our dog has gone to its forever home, by the way. So she's we were fostering her, and she's gone to her forever home. All I'm seeing is a dog's butt. So yeah, I mean, it's large. I mean, this is a large space, this common room, and you've got three sides where you've got windows and you've got seating all the way around, and you realise that the roof in here is open and pitched, and there are various wooden columns holding it up, and it smells nice. It kind of has a different smell to so many other buildings that you've been in. You know, you're used to stone buildings where, you know, they hold in the sort of the smell of the sweat and the food and the cooking and the other things that go on within the buildings. But there's something about this being in a wooden building that you're just not used to, and it just has this kind of earthen scent that is kind of satisfying and different in terms of, in comparison to most other places that you've been.
I like it in here. It's nice.
Oh.
You there's a
Wonder what's for
a
dinner.
bar that projects out from the rear wall. Well, actually, it's a walkway with a counter down both sides and then around the end. And you walk up, and this young woman kind of looks around from the back and sees you, comes walking over. Earlier in the day than normal? Are you with one of the caravans?
I look at the.
Okay.
Yeah,
Silent
me
types.
too.
Can we get you some food or some drinks or something?
Food sounds great.
Really good. Yes. Okay.
Good. Oh, hi.
Garvis just folded
Good.
his arms
Well,
back at you.
we have some stew on, if you'd like some plates of stew. Or we have some cold roasted meats and cheese and bread. What do you prefer? Both.
That sounds good. Both sounds good.
Well, look, find yourself somewhere to sit. Will you be staying with us, by the way?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Right. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I'll get that sorted for you. Plenty of space tonight. Not too busy. That's good. So let me organise some things, and I'll talk to you in a few minutes. Do excuse me. She bustles off. She comes out a few minutes later and brings you over drinks. So she comes over with a jug, a big jug, and some mugs, and she puts them down. And basically, she's brought out a short beer. So it's basically a beer that's brewed to be very low alcohol, but have enough alcohol in it to kill anything that might be suspect in the water. And she's also brought out a bottle of wine as well, and she puts that on the table and she says, "Yes." And she puts that on the table. Very good. She leaves some little glasses with that. And then a few minutes later, she comes out and she brings a pot of stew, a ladle and some bowls. And then she comes back out with a plate that's got loaves of bread and some meat and cheese on. She just puts it all in front of you and hands out some small plates. I'll leave you to it, and I'll organise some rooms.
I almost expected you to describe a fondue set. No, why? But
Lovely
just
toy.
the way you've described the wood elves, it just struck me as the sort of thing they would have.
Oh, if you ever get invited to a wood elf party, there'll definitely be fondue. There's no question. Okay.
Hmm.
Casually wave your mace around in the com.
Yes. There are only 2 other patrons in here at this point who appear to be having a conversation. I kind of literally on the other side of the room, and when you start doing this, you get this mace out and you hold it in the air like this because you have to hold it up in the air for a minute, right? You get it out, you hold it up in the air like that, and they the 2 of them sort of they're talking, and then one of them like look, kind of nudge, and then they're like, and it's like.
Wave your mace in the air like there.
And it's just like, what's he doing? Yeah. Okay. All right. The good news is no evil. And this not that you can detect anyway. Okay.
Well,
Been there, done
Not
that.
Prime vampire territory, is it really?
well, if we are attacked by vampire is at the moment outside of your range.
Hmm.
That's true. Or it's on the other side of an inch of wood.
Yeah. Oh, damn it.
It's really quite limiting in terms of the way the range works. It tends to work better in like wide open spaces. So it's not quite that bad, but yeah. You guys eat. It's the food is basic, it's pleasant, and it's nice to have hot food.
Yep.
Because and feel like you're going to get decent rest and everything's going to be
Chairs. It's nice to have
fine.
chairs.
Chairs. Yes, chairs are nice as well, and they're comfortable.
Mhm.
They're comfortable chairs. I mean, they're made out of wood because everything's made out of wood, but that's okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, unless you're going to do something else, we're going to move on to the evening.
That's fine.
No, fine.
That's fine.
That's it, yeah.
Absolutely.
So out the back of this building, the common room, and then there's a kitchen at the back and a store. And then out the back are a series of small cabin buildings, little buildings. And when you're ready to sort of get ready for the evening and drop your stuff off and everything else, you find yourselves, each of you has got a little room in these cabins.
Chalets.
Okay, so now actually the cabin that you're in has got 5 rooms off a corridor, but they are lockable, and they're not the greatest. They're pretty basic, but they're clean, they're tidy, and they're comfortable.
So what you're saying is we can retire to our wooden chalet where we can have our fondue.
That's right.
I mean,
And you can have a damn good yodel at the same time.
yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
It does sound more like Switzerland the more we go on, doesn't it?
Yes.
Oops. Mid-level yodel.
Right.
If somebody comes
So-
up singing "The Hills Are Alive,"
Are you setting a
They
watch tonight?
specialise in intricate mechanisms made out of wood. There wouldn't be clocks by any chance, would there?
you know,
With small birds that
Yeah.
pop out of the hour.
you know what, John? I think we should set a watch tonight, and I think possibly, myself and Muggsy could fuck with Garvis on this one.
No, you're in a cabin which has a corridor, a common corridor.
Yeah,
There's 6 rooms. The last room is not occupied.
yeah.
Okay? So there are each of you has got a room in the cabin. So basically, there is a cabin door. So each of you has 2 keys: the cabin door key, and then which just leads into this corridor. And then there's also like a kind of little washroom at one end. Yeah, and then each of you has a room in here.
Mhm.
All right,
Windows?
it's basic, simple, clean, comfortable, nothing complicated.
Windows.
Windows, yes.
What windows? Well, there are windows in every room.
So every room has got a small window at the back.
Okay. How small? Too small to get through? No.
Yeah, realistically. I mean, yeah, even the halfling would struggle.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say, if you're setting watches, just wake me up when it's my turn. Good night, and I retire to my bed.
Okay.
Yep.
Good night.
All right.
And then when I think everyone's asleep, knock on Muggsy's door.
Okay.
Joking. I'm joking.
I'm going to.
Okay.
We're just gonna have a quick.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have some quick one-on-ones. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So.
So that basically means,
Do as you want. No.
yeah. Now, Muggsy, I wonder how far we could actually push Gar. Really does break down from sleep deprived, from sleep to depravity. And the best bit is, we still got some of those beers in the bag of holding.
That is true.
Ah,
Was it
You
good
can always
beer? at
stay
least?
up.
it was fantastic beer, Delilah. It was fantastic beer. It was really worth it.
I think I've still got that bottle of rum from months ago that I've not used yet.
That is right. Oh boy.
Keep meaning to drink it, but something keeps happening. I keep getting attacked.
What's the normal watch order? I thought it was Muggsy first, then Garvis, then Illyra, Delilah,
I can't remember.
and
Was it the same as our marching order?
yeah, our original marching
Just-
order.
we were doing
Close to that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was posted in the 20 chat recently. Oh, here's a watch order of Muggsy, Garvis, Illyra, Delira, Reinhorn.
Yeah.
Garvis is currently wearing his town frown. That's what it says above that.
What's the overriding?
Oh, hang on.
And and it's back to us three again. Right, so right, I think the hell was that?
Okay, who's next?
That's weird.
Muggsy.
Bye, Muggsy. Nice knowing you.
Bye. What do I need to do?
At least, what's his name didn't kill Bugsy. I was a bit worried. I'll throw him in prison. That was.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I should have told him his disguise wasn't going to work, but you know. Sometimes the man just needs to learn the hard way.
Sometimes his friends need to help him learn that you don't need to try these things out. I've been in those situations before.
Yeah, but I'm the fun uncle. I'm not the strict you must do type uncle. I'm the uncle who goes, yeah, let's do it and let's suffer the consequences later. Let's experience this. You know, I mean, maybe, you know, we need a not so much fun uncle to make sure that Muggsy doesn't stray off the beaten path. I'll make sure that purity wise he's fine, but yeah.
Well, the thing is, from Garvis's point of view, is you know his job, if you like, his whole reason is to protect the group.
Hello there.
And you just seriously let him down. That's the way he sees it.
Okay,
Thank you
Ryan,
very
you
much,
ready?
Neon Outcast.
Or are we gonna go Delira
Thanks for the
first?
follow. Really do appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
We'll
thought
take
we
W.
normally did the watches in the order that we had last time, so I should be last, really.
Okay. This isn't about watches, but okay.
Okay.
All right.
No worries.
We'll do Delira first, and then we'll do you last.
Okay.
And the other thing that got Garvis's back up was just the way you just casually, you know, stabbed martyrs in the back. You know, in terms of her reputation, and you know, he just thought that was really a real dick move, basically.
Yeah, I haven't got much to say about that. I didn't know what disguise he actually went out with because he went out as Muggsy and he came back as Muggsy. You know, but so yeah, but we did discuss about the fact that he was going to use a disguise and it was going to be a magical one. But yeah, you know.
Look, I mean, I'm just. This is just Garvis's.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
and,
so
you know,
yeah, I mean, we're just having a bit of out of character type of chit chat, but yeah, I mean,
just for these guys to know sort of where Garvis is coming from on this one.
yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
well, out of
It's an
character.
opportunity for
Out of
them to
character.
play.
Yeah, out of character. It was purely a chance to role play finally after a long time, and I got carried away. So that's by the way, something that Muggsy really would have done. So
That's
Yeah.
exactly. I know he's in character for
Yeah.
most.
and you can imagine Garvis being the type of character that Garvis is. You can imagine he's. I can imagine he's in my mind he's pissed. He's pissed because of the fact that we impersonated Marta, but he's more pissed because he's never been banished from somewhere.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Very,
and that's
very-
going to affect his street
yeah.
cred under the mountains. You know, but
Muggsy just can't believe she couldn't take a joke.
I can't believe that they found out. I thought you were a
No,
master
there's that
wizard.
too. There's that too.
Yeah.
But, you know,
the characters are always going to have conflicts.
Yes.
regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, always. We just got to work out
All
how
got
to
along
work
all the
around them.
time. It would be very interesting.
Yeah. Well, it would be very boring and wouldn't make for much roleplay, really, would it? But
Yeah.
you know, but yeah,
It's a, what was it John called it? A knife.
it is.
It's a knife that we can use for, you know, character conflict and a bit of good roleplay.
But now, Reinhorn and Muggsy now know that Garvis really doesn't appreciate being drunk and staying up all night. So what we'll do. So what we're going to do next time is we're going to actually tap on your door, tell you that we're going to get some beer, get wasted, so that you can cover our watches.
Okay.
Right,
Simple. Oh,
Would have
sorry,
been a lot
gotta
better.
go. The boss wants me.
If you want to get wasted, that's fine. But Garvis would like to be the one, you know, someone's got to watch your back, basically.
Yeah,
That was
Okay.
the thing is, you know,
And we should have invited him.
we should have done, shouldn't we, Mugsy? Right, I'm ready, John.
All right. Okay. Reinhorn falls asleep. And Reinhorn dreams. And in his dream, he stood at the top of a mountain, looking up a set of steps that lead up to an ornate set of doors on a large fortified building. All around him is snow and cold. And suddenly beside him, his goddess is stood. And she says to him, "This will test you, but you can do it. Have faith." And then the dream fades away and Reinhorn wakes up. Any questions?
Do I know the mountaintop and have I seen the tower before?
No, you haven't. You haven't seen this before. Definitely not.
Right, okay. Wonder if that's where she lives. Was there a sign that says house number and street? Right, okay. Crap, I really need to get more imaginative in my dreams. Right, okay. No, there's no other questions, I don't think.
Cool, extinct. And we're all back.
Indeed.
Okay. The night passes without event, and you all kind of get up in the morning and decide that you're going to head off. But the thing that's really, really odd is that all of you have sort of, stripped off your kit and, taken off your boots and all the rest of it. But Delira comes out of her room, yawning and scratching her head, and she looks down and she's wearing her boots.
I may have gone for a walk.
About?
Yes.
That happens to me sometimes.
I need to eat something, and then I'll hopefully explain once I've gathered my brain.
Delira, did you come back with a drink? I
No.
look at Garvis.
If I did, I don't have it anymore.
So who was on watch when you went for a walk?
Don't know.
I think I was asleep.
Hang on, you went for a walk when you were asleep?
Possibly.
Very
It's not
concerning.
clear.
Is this something you've ever done before?
Not recently.
You didn't fall asleep during your watch.
No.
Do you think it was the cheese?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it does have
It was
idea.
definitely the cheese, guys.
Yeah,
Definitely the
that
cheese.
soft cheese was very, yeah.
Here's the thing, right? You haven't seen any cows or goats or sheep. So what do the elves milk to make the cheese?
Well, it's the rats, isn't it?
I think there were some mushrooms in there as well, so they may have. I don't know.
Mushroom rat
You're basically
cheese.
trying to milk the mail right at the moment. So
Oh, no.
Um,
right.
It's vegan cheese. Clearly,
Mm.
vegan cheese. You know, these
Gives anyone a nightmare.
These wood-elves live frugally, as befits woodland creatures with no visible means of support.
Maybe
Okay.
You don't know if
consider
this
it
visible
to be a
means of support you haven't seen yet.
No. Mm.
Well, you say they live in the trees, so you know where's their
Nuts.
fields?
Nuts.
Fields is an interesting question, right? So I was thinking about actually about this in all because of that joke. In fact, live frugally as befits woodland beings, right? I was like, okay, so how do you sustain a population?
Yeah.
If you're an elf and you live in a forest, how do you sustain your population? So, on the one hand, you've got trees that will bear fruit,
Mhm.
right? And you therefore will need a process for keeping some of that throughout the year. Okay. This climate doesn't have wildly cold winters or anything like that. So actually, there's a kind of constant growing season throughout. Okay. So different things are coming into fruit at different points. So there's a lot of vegetable fruit type things. Plus also there are funguses and other stuff like that you can eat.
And
Plus also
don't
this
forget
hunting.
squirrels.
Sorry?
Don't forget the squirrels.
Yeah, exactly. Hunting. There's also hunting.
Mhm.
Yep.
So you're not going to eat a lot of. You're probably not going to have a lot of carbs in your diet, which makes sense. That's why elves are so thin. All of them are really, really thin because they don't have any carbs in their diet.
Yeah.
They're all in massive quantities of ketosis.
Yes.
They're all.
I knew it.
I've just noticed that I've got a problem with the layout.
Really, it's just all meat all
So
the
I
time.
play
It's
Reinhorn,
literally just meat and veg.
Sorry, meat and veg.
and I didn't put my
And
name
nuts and-
as
You
a
use the
character
certain things in some of the leaves
because I
and
used
trees.
the
Yep. There's
images
there's
from the previous setup.
it's not exactly
Imagine
the easiest to see,
amazing
So,
but
do apologise.
Give some beautiful leaves.
Well, of course, they're like pandas, really, because they have bows, so they eat, shoot, and leave.
Okay, I agree. I agree. It's definitely the cheese. I mean, Garvis is coming out with some corkers, so that's it. We need to investigate the cheese market.
right.
There's
So-
something afoot.
What do you want to do then? Overnight, into the evening, you asked about what was happening, and you were told that the building on the edge of the village, closer to the forest, is a trade hall, which is managed by the elves. So basically, if you're buying and selling, you go in there and you buy and sell with the elves, and that's where the elves hang out. They don't really come into the village beyond that.
Ooh.
So, going to check the compass
Mhm.
in my room or in
Okay.
our chalet.
Yes.
So
Not just sort of stood in the middle of the street. I get that. Yeah.
So we're going to check the
It's pointing directly at the forest.
It is okay. Then what we need to
Mm.
do is we need to. Sorry, pointing directly at the forest or pointing at the trade hall, then the forest.
Pointing past the trade. Well, you think past the trade hall and at the forest.
So we need to basically get to another point to triangulate.
Yes. Yeah. So where you are in relation, so you've got directly to the west, you've got the wall of the forest.
Mhm.
Okay, and actually you've got that. You see that the road that goes into that, and you sort of between some trees and all the rest of it. But you're not quite sure what happens beyond that. And what you've got is you've got from where you are sat, the trade hall is sort of northwest from you, and westward is the forest, because of you're close enough to the trade hall for it to be just off center from where you are, and it's pointing at the forest. It's not pointing at the trade hall.
So,
How
Sharon.
very annoying, but also expected.
All right, I may
Okay.
have a. I may have a.
Garvis can fly over the top, so it's fine, right?
Well, I mean, technically, we can all camp with myself and
Winged
Delira.
boots. That's fine, right?
But right, just a quick one, right? Sharanav, that's near the regions for the halflings and wood elves, right?
No. Halflings live everywhere,
Right. Okay.
right? Humans, halflings live pretty much everywhere. Okay,
Right.
cheek by jowl. There are some places where you will get halfling communities. So you get like a village that's really just halflings. So, for example, Delora is from somewhere like that. But you've got plenty of other places where humans and halflings mix freely.
Right.
Okay.
So, are there temples in
The
the?
elves are pretty much everywhere. They wander about. They're very much footloose type folks. So there's always plenty of them about. But there's not as many of them as there are humans and halflings.
Right.
Although
Okay.
there's probably 3 times as many humans as there are halflings. So the sea elves are, there's always sea elves kicking about. High elves, obviously, as you know, are rare, very rare. And dwarves, there's plenty of dwarves about as well, but dwarves have their own kingdom, which is under the mountains.
Yeah. Okay. So, quick question, right? Any temples in Sharanav? Because that's where we are, right?
Temples in Sharanav.
You're not in Sharanav.
You're not in Sharanav.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were in Sharanav.
I'm in
Right. Okay.
Solvang.
Right. So, is there a church or a temple or something where we are?
No.
So there's nowhere for them to pray to their gods.
There are.
They're heretics. They should all burn. Let's burn the place down.
There is a small area to one side in the town that has basically some altars to each of the gods outside.
Right. Okay. So it's more of
Okay.
a generic. Yeah. If you want to go, then you can go. Right.
You can
So
go and pray. You can go and pray at each of the altars. There's basically an area set up where there's an altar, but it's outdoors. There's no church or temple
Okay.
or anything like that.
well, let's go into
This
the.
is only really small. I mean, it really is teeny. There's probably 100 people live here.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So what are we thinking, guys? Go to the trade hall and make sure Lyra doesn't show off her elven chain shirt. Yeah.
Before we go, I'll recount. I'll try and recount the this dream I had. Maybe it wasn't a dream. I don't know. If I've had my boots on all night.
If we're not going to get. If you did go for a walk, is your sheets muddy and what have you? If you slept in your boots, I don't want to be charged cleaning services.
Just bear in mind, Delora, nobody else knows what it is because we were in whisper mode when we had that conversation.
So, yeah. Were the dreams vivid or any way
Yes.
strange to which we would want to talk about them, John?
Yes.
Or are they just like a normal dream?
No, these are not normal. You don't think they're normal dreams.
Okay. Well,
You
then
definitely.
I dreamed I was last night. It was really weird because it's really vivid. I was in a tiny tunnel in the darkness. Only way was forward. Came to a T junction over and over, and I would take a left, then a right, left, then a right. Came out into a wide room and felt this super satisfaction that I'd like solved a puzzle of some sort. And then I just woke up just feeling satisfied that it's sort of nice. But it was strangely vivid.
Mine was the forest was calling to me. And I
By
walked.
name?
Yes, by name. And I walked to the front. I walked up to the forest and the tree and the communal voices were talking to me and telling me that I need to remember my true heritage, and that they will grant us safe passage.
Oh.
And I can remember pretty sure I can remember the path to that location. So if we want, that could be an option. But it was very strange. I don't remember having dreams like that before. But yes, it was. And again, it was calling my name, but if it was in my head, I know my name. But I don't know. It was very strange.
Can you show us sort of here in town where you might have gone? And the reason I say that is I'm going to make well, I'll ask John what he would like me to make to try and see if I can find tracks.
I track. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm sure some of you other guys might be better.
tracking is tracking, of course, is nature.
Nature.
Yep.
Yeah, there's only one person that's good at nature, and that's the druid.
I can certainly try and have a look.
Yeah, you better.
Uh,
I lost him.
Oh, I thought that was Delilah for a second.
It's normally a one. It's normally a 1 or a 2.
I'm sorry.
God, I
8.
love
Yeah.
8's not so great,
No. Well, 13.
but I think
No.
you need to remember that you're not necessarily as restricted as you think you are.
so tracking is actually a survival role.
Oh, survival. Sorry, is it?
What's
Oh,
that?
survival.
My apologies.
Okay.
Not
Survival. Go on then.
Well, if I
David's pulling the skills up, and it's taking forever over here. So
It's all good.
if I knew where I went, if I remember where I went, should I have an advantage on
Yeah.
this roll?
Well, we might be able to go somewhere where there's not a whole bunch of cross traffic, like at the edge of the village or something, to help out.
okay, so
See if you
Delilah,
actually walk out.
you remember going away from the village. You remember going to the southwest.
Southwest. Away from the village.
Southwest.
This way. This way.
So where you are is on the southern edge of the village,
Mm-hmm.
and you remember going southwest, away from the village.
Play it again. I want to play it again.
No.
Okay,
No.
this is much better.
Okay.
Reinhorn and Delilah, you pick up the tracks between you. You pick up Delilah's tracks.
So, can I ask,
Definitely going this way.
did any of you have a dragon in your dreams?
Okay, I get instantly aroused by. I mean, interested in that dragon.
Hmm.
No. Did you dream of a
No.
dragon?
I did indeed. A
What was-
golden dragon.
Reinhard says, "What
Oh.
was the dragon wearing?"
Yeah.
A golden negligee.
Okay. Just keep telling me. Keep telling me.
Oh my.
Come in.
I'm not ready yet. Keep going, Alira. Keep going. So what happened with the golden dragon and the golden negligee?
It just thanked me for helping.
Hmm.
Okay.
Were you
And
in
then-
a different location or were you here?
I was in a beautiful room with paintings on the ceiling and amazing columns holding the ceiling up.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Did the rest
Garvis,
of you have any dreams as well?
Attention.
did you have a dream, Garvis?
I did, but I dreamed of my god.
Okay. And what did your god say?
I know that I'm at liberty to say.
A conversation between one's god is really something you should keep to yourself. You are right.
But all I can
It is
say,
private.
all I can say is, as with most of these communications, it wasn't particularly helpful at the time.
It may become clear when the time comes, possibly.
Probably after it would be actually useful.
Okay. Well, I too also had a dream.
These things often become clear.
And unlike your god, my god won't smite me for or tell me off for sharing. So my goddess, when We're on top of a snowy mountaintop with steps leading up to a tower or a castle. I think it was more a tower. And she said, "This will test you, but I know that you can do it. Have faith." So I'm thinking,
So nothing useful like showing you a map with a cross on it saying go here.
well,
Kill-
yes, actually, Garvis, yes, because I have faith that Delira knows the way. I have faith that Muggsy can navigate through the pathways to lead us to a room, and I have faith that Elira will free something that and get thanked that's for freeing her that's in the room. And the key to all of this may be what your God told you, and the fact that maybe I should have the faith to listen to everyone and say, Delira, let's go.
Well, I think we're following Delira anyway, aren't we?
I think we should.
Yep.
Is the compass leading in the direction that we're going, or off to the side, or?
The compass is pointing pretty much west.
Okay, and we're heading southwest.
So Delira went southwest, but only over a short distance. The problem is that you're not sure. You don't think it's kind of. You don't think the compass is pointing to something that's within half a mile of you or a mile of you or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't think you're gonna walk across the plain and then there's going to be some disturbed earth. The thing's going to do that. The compass is going to spin and you're going to go, right, we'll dig a hole here then, guys. Yippee, we found it. I mean, it'd be great if it was, but
If it did, we know you had very little time to prepare this adventure.
that's right. Yes, exactly. And you dug a hole. Now you're great. Now what?
Well, now we have to spend 3 months looking down the hole, don't we? Like most workers do.
Yar, a lot.
Arr.
Yargus.
Yup.
Is it worth having a look through the notes and the magic of the Ancients book just to see if there's any reference to the forest in there? Was it a bit too big to really spend a bit of time in depth kind of on that?
I think that's a sensible thing to do. You look through and the thing you concentrate on is this the drawing of the machine.
Yes.
You keep going back to that drawing. But no, you don't find anything in there that immediately leads you to think, this fits with. I mean, all of you have a look through the book. You all sit around and look at it together, and there's nothing that leaps out at any of you as being obvious.
We know there's a bit of uncharted territory to the south of the forest, so maybe that's somewhere to look if it's not been mapped.
Thing is, you know that the compass will take you to the spot.
Yeah.
It'll take you to literally the right place.
Oh,
where you are right now, there's a forest in the way.
Yeah.
Mountain in your dream, Reinhorn, did it have a flat top?
I would love to be able to answer that, Garvis, but unfortunately the inspiration didn't describe the tower too well when it came to me in a dream.
Sorry, did you say the mountain, Pete, or the
mountain? Yeah.
No, it didn't. It had a large fortification on top of it, a large building on top, which is what Reinhorn was stood at the foot of. Yeah. And it was also on an icy mountain surrounded by snow was the other.
Well, it sounds very similar to my vision, my dream.
the way he describes it, it sounds very, very similar, if not identical, to the vision that you had in terms of the place that you were looking out at.
Yeah. Well, we've got two dreams in common.
Hmm.
And mine could have been a room inside the tower.
It's possible.
Right. Oh, I see where you're going with that. Right. So on the map of that we've got in the book of the doodahs, geography of the landscapes of the Netherworld or whatever it's called, that book that Delilah found the map in and humiliated me with it. I mean, they pointed out that we've already got one. Is there a mountain inside?
Like this map?
Yeah. That's the one, Delilah. Yes, thank you. Again.
I'm going to make the DM draw a map. You mean this map?
So is there is there a mountain range inside the or past the wooded area? The jungle area. Is there a high top mountain? I mean, if it's got snow on it, then it must be quite large, tall, maybe.
So you have the edge of the forest to draw on the map, and there's no detail in the forest. But what there is right at the edge of the page. There's a little bit where the forest, a kind of an area in the center of the forest, somewhere in that forest block. And you notice that sort of casually there's been a few little lines drawn of a few little mountains, and you almost ignored it, dismissed it, just thought that's the other side, and it kind of goes around. But now you're starting to wonder, actually, what if that's in the middle of the forest? What if in the middle of the forest sits around this mountain range? I mean, it's only crudely drawn, and and it was almost, you didn't pay any attention to it. When you get the book back out and you look at it, you're kind of going, what if it's there? What if that's the mountain?
Yeah.
So I point this out, and I
almost directly to the west of where you are.
So I point this out to everyone, and I go, but I have faith that my goddess isn't going to point me in the wrong direction. I have faith in you guys, okay? But what does concern me is, why are the gods pointing us and helping us to get the last shard?
Yeah, where are these?
They've not
coming
interfered. Yeah, they've not interfered with us directly. So, is it my goddess? Is it your god, Garvis? Is it, or are we being played? So, I have faith that it is my goddess because it looked like her, it smelt like her, walked like her, talked like her. So, therefore, it must be an imposter. But she's come to me in times of crisis where I've really had a thing of faith, but she's never interjected on any of the shards before. So why now?
So Garvis is going to have a pray, have a commune.
Okay.
Just to basically say, was this a true vision?
All right. So you take yourself off and you find a quiet spot and you sit down.
Oh, John, I'm doing something. John, I'm doing something. So when he goes off to do his prayer, I'm so excited. So excited. So the rest of you can see that Muggsy's just going, he's just excited he's gonna do something he's just recently learned. So as Garver starts his prayer, I'm going to cast this and whisper, Garvis, you've been a naughty, naughty boy.
Okay, so Garvis takes himself off to another table and he sits down. and you see him hold his hands and his head bows in prayer. And then you see Muggsy just cast this little spell and into his hands. And Garvis, you're just getting into that state of grace where you find yourself, and all you hear whispered in your ear is, "Garvis, you've been a naughty boy," and you're like instantly jerked away. You look across, and Muggsy's sitting across the other side of the thing, and he's like that.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that. He's not looking
There's
at
no
you
way,
like that.
no way you can hide it. He's so shit.
He can't hide. He's just cracking up, and everyone else is like, "What the hell is he doing?"
Okay, so Jarvis over. Yeah, he marches over behind Muggsy.
Oh no! Here comes the chastisement.
And
Yeah.
In his ear.
leans over
Oh,
from behind,
no.
reaches down his hand, gives him a massive wedgie.
Oh.
Oh!
As strong as Garvis is, that's not pleasant. I'm sure I'm dangling.
Yeah.
And once again, the rest of the group doesn't know what the heck just happened.
So everyone else is like, "Shit." Okay, Jarvis, you go and
Okay.
sit back down, and you
Okay.
you just adjust yourself, and you pray. You pray to Torm, and you pray for guidance, and you pray for something to tell you whether you are being deceived by evil. And as you pray, you feel this this sensation, very much akin to the spell that you are so much used to. Being able to detect evil, and you feel your senses sort of wash out of you, and then back in, and you feel this intense sense of rightness and good, as if the world around you is aligned in the most positive fashion possible. And although words are not spoken into your head, you get that the intent of this quite clearly is to show you that what you experience is right and is righteous and is indeed a message from your God.
Right. Okay. I'll finish with a prayer of thanks, and then I'll go back to the group and I'll say, "It was a true message. Mine was a true message."
It's very reassuring. It's very reassuring.
So, Garvis, if yours was a true message, then we can safely assume that all of them would be a true message through one form or another for whatever deities